Hey, Dan.
Hey, Alex, you're looking pretty cool.
Yeah, look at me. I'm awesome.
What?
No, I just got a little itch.
Okay,
I just got to take
right.
care of it.
Yeah,
check out my sick power glove.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that. This is Travis Touchdown. Remember Travis Touchdown?
I do remember him. He took a lot of shits.
Yeah. He's still taking shits out here in the video game world. This is No More Heroes. Travis Strikes Back.
Okay.
For the Nintendo Switch.
Exclusive to the Nintendo Switch?
Exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, as far as I'm aware. Much the way the No More Heroes games were Wii games, this is a new installment in this franchise. It is not exactly like the other No More Heroes games, which were more like, traditional third-person, behind-the-back, action brawler type games.
Right.
With a whole lot of, Suda 51 brand weirdness around it.
I see a little Mick Foley down there with a baseball bat.
That's Badman, who is the father of Bad Girl, who I believe is one of the assassins that you murder in the first game, if I'm remembering my history of these games correctly. So this one's a little different. It is still an action game. You are still running around with a big stupid sword that you make semi-jack-off motions to recharge from time to time.
Is it a lightsaber or is it an actual blade? Okay.
Yeah, it's that thing that you had before.
Okay.
But the perspectives are different, and the story is it's a little less about him going on, assassin murder rampages, and more about him going into a haunted video game console that can kill you.
This all checks out.
Yeah. Before we do that, just real quick, just show off a couple of the other things. This is like the main hub area between worlds. You still save by going to the bathroom. There is some collectibles here and there. You can buy a whole lot of different t-shirts in this game, all of which are based on video games for the most part. So if you want logos for all these cool video games.
Oh, interesting.
You can do that. There's also some other ones like here's
Chicken
just one
wing?
that's a fucking Tombstone pile driver.
All right.
Yeah. So, it's
a Suda
that
game.
stuff.
This is, all right, this seems like Suda weird.
As you are going through the game, you will find these ramen stalls. Go there, and then you can learn about ramen.
Good beer?
Yeah. I love good beer, and I love good ramen.
All right.
There's some other little things like you'll find some collectible little missives from other characters in the game. But let's just jump into the death drive right now.
Is that an Unreal Engine shirt?
Yes. You are wearing one by default when this game boots up.
That's an odd choice. All right.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Sure.
All right, so this haunted console, you are going into it to collect these death balls and beat the games. The games are the death balls.
Okay.
There are 6 death balls.
Oh, so that's like the disc.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
This is a console that was never actually released, according to actually, real quick, I'm just going to go back here. There's a thing I do want to show you. Nope, that was the wrong button. Sorry.
So was he in the gaming press, and so he got access to like these early
I'm not
consoles,
entirely clear how this all came to be, but if you want some good fake literature on these fake video games, it has that.
All right, that's pretty cool.
The 2 I have beaten so far are Electric Thunder Tiger 2 and Life is Destroy, where you are like hunting a serial killer.
Lick the death ball?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got reviews?
Yeah.
Oh, like old fake magazine reviews? Okay, I'm into this.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite thing in the game, which does not maybe speak super well of the actual game part, but all right. So we'll jump into the first one here real quick, just show off a little bit of late sections of the first level. You can play as either character. There is co-op. It's not remarkable co-op. It's just, hey, if you want to play with another person, you can.
Gotcha.
And that character will level up separate from Travis.
And I assume it's not like AI-controlled Badman or hero. It's just going to be you, right? If you're playing solo?
Yes, it's just me. You will see his icon off to the side, and he will make like little emotes at you, but that's about it.
Gotcha.
All right, so we've been sucked into the death drive. I think I can just jump into a specific section of this. We'll see.
It's got a whole thing going on here.
It's got an
some of
aesthetic.
this.
The No More Heroes aesthetic is in here.
All right.
I can't say that I enjoy the presentation here maybe as much as I like the older games when they first came around, but there's some stuff around the edges of this game that I like.
Okay.
The part where you actually go in and do the combat stuff is maybe not as interesting. We'll go late into this first stage.
I've really enjoyed Suda's games in the past, but a lot of times the gameplay was, it was fine.
Acceptable.
But acceptable. I just saw it as a thing that got me from weird Suda thing to weird Suda thing.
Yes. And that is very much how I feel about this game and its various parts. It is a decent little hack and slash game The perspective changes a little bit. Like sometimes it's just straight up side scrolling. Sometimes it's behind the back like this. Sometimes it's very high top down. But it's always the same action, at least from the first couple of games that I've played.
Okay.
Which is just that you kind of run around, you hack these dudes, these bug guys that show up from time to time. You have a weak and a strong attack with your sword. You also have some special attacks, which include... you can do jump attacks, and then you have these 4 different chip attacks, which you collect over time. I'll show you here. So obviously you level up by going in here and just dumping points, but these skill sets, these are individual special abilities that you assign to buttons that you do, and they have like cooldown periods, but they're pretty short, so you use them a lot.
Okay.
I'll show you a couple of these that I have right now.
Now, the Wii games had a decent amount of motion stuff.
Yes.
Is that an optional thing here? Can you just play this, in handheld mode?
The only, okay, so that was the electrical attack that I have. The only real motion stuff I've seen is that to recharge your thing, you hold down the left trigger, or the left analog stick, and kind of shake.
Oh, you gotta whack off and then you get your thing.
Yeah,
okay.
So you shake the sticks, or you hold the sticks down and you shake.
Gotcha.
I've primarily been playing this with the Pro Controller on my TV. It's the first time I'm just kind of using the Joy-Cons.
Do you shake with the
Pro
Controller?
You just shake the controller, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So you're fighting these bug dudes who are supposed to be representations of I think video game bugs.
I see. Okay.
And they all have their own unique attacks and abilities, but it's pretty rote for the most part. There is not a lot of variance I found in the combat. There is some variance in how they attack you and how you approach those combat encounters, but it's not wide.
This is a busy screen.
Yes, it is. So this is a slow down move, so anyone who walks into this sort of cone of slow, they will not be able to match my speed.
Okay. What does that R mean that he's holding up?
I don't know.
What happens if you hit R?
I'm hitting R right now. I think it's there's a special...
Wait, no, you're doing ZR, aren't you? There you go. Is it some super mode thing?
Maybe, yeah. There is another special attack that I have barely used, and I think that is mapped to the R trigger. And I might just be telling me, hey, it's ready.
Gotcha.
So you're collecting these coins, which you use to buy the shirts and whatnot. There are also some ones that are unlocked behind specific tokens that you can only use, collect throughout the level. There's hidden stuff too, there are hidden icons for things. There's these guys. He will give you some words of wisdom. So,
from the way you describe it, it sounds like this is, kind of hacky, slashy, not exactly, you're not getting any kind of Devil May Cry, Bayonetta vibes off of, the complexity of combat, are you?
It is not particularly hard action.
Okay.
It has some style to it, but I found, granted, I haven't been playing on the hardest difficulty or anything, but, I found it to be pretty by the numbers. There's a couple of harder challenges that have come across later in levels. But none of the boss fights have been that exciting or interesting to me, which is kind of a bummer, because I feel that's the stuff where the personality in these games tends to come through, and I haven't really gotten much of that yet.
Well, and if the whole shtick here is that you're playing these different games and going into these different game worlds,
yes,
I would hope that it would be a lot of variety, not quite like a WarioWare thing, but you know what I mean, where it's hey, now we're playing this totally different thing. Is it all kind of this same type of gameplay, or are there any wild departures?
So the world after this, which I'll show a little bit of as well, you're still doing this thing where you run around and you hack these types of enemies to death. It's just the structure changes. You're in this fake suburbia, and you have to do these what are essentially those pipe moving puzzles where you're sliding things into place.
Right.
And you're doing that to the streets in the world.
Okay.
Which is it's fun for a minute, but then there's 8 of them, and they're kind of long. And you're in between, you're being chased by a giant fucking blue ghost head that murders you in one shot if you get caught, sort of in Phanto style.
Okay.
And it's okay, yeah, there's some ideas here, there's some stuff, but it kind of drags.
I feel if I heard you describe some of these scenarios without seeing the game, it would sound like exactly what I want out of a Suda game.
Yeah.
But then there's something about seeing it in action here and hearing that it doesn't really get much more complex than this that kind of bums me out.
Yeah, that was how I felt about it when I booted it up. My girlfriend is a big Suda fan and really liked the original No More Heroes a lot. And within 20 minutes of watching me playing this, she's like, "This seems incredibly boring."
Well, and this is not full price. Is that correct?
It is a $30 game on the Switch. Here's a ramen guy.
And I'm sorry, you said it was exclusive to the Switch?
It is exclusive to the Switch.
Okay. Suda has always done a lot of Nintendo stuff between like Killer 7.
Yes.
I always associate that with the GameCube. I think it did come out on PS2.
It eventually came to PS2, and then it was on PC last year.
Right, that's right.
Which, yeah, he's leaned toward Nintendo stuff, but, he's also had his multi-platform things as well.
Shadow of the Damned, and yeah.
The thing that kind of bums me out about this game is that this is the first game that Suda has, like, written and directed in a while. Like, Let It Die, like, he was, I think, creative director at the studio and, like, obviously had his input in that game, but it was directed by another guy at Grasshopper.
Okay.
And some of the other stuff that has come out of there has been a similar situation. And I was like, okay, maybe this will have, like, some really, cool Suda brand weirdness in it, and it just kind of hasn't had a lot that is really latched on to me for the most part.
That's unfortunate, because,
Yes.
like we've said in the past, you can kind of look past some acceptable, at best, gameplay to get to those Suda moments of personality.
Totally.
But if it's not really delivering on either, then, that might not be what you're looking for.
I also think maybe Travis Touchdown, at least for me, is a little bit of a time. Like there was a time when the sort of the meta stuff that they were doing with that character in those games was a little more novel than maybe now.
Yes.
And here it's sort of like the sort of game within a game, talking to the player stuff just doesn't feel as interesting.
Right. I feel like in like maybe 08, 09, that would still be like a novel thing, but like we've seen enough of that now.
Yeah. And like what they're doing here doesn't feel like, a radical or particularly interesting interpretation of that. It's just kind of the same, like, oh yeah, no, video games. He's still an otaku. He still likes his weird wrestling shit and video game shit.
I get that.
He's still an asshole and an assassin.
All right.
Now he's in this video game console to, I guess, rescue or bring back to life the daughter of this guy who's mad and shows up in his trailer. And
Sure.
it's like, okay. Anyway, here's a toilet.
Is he pooping? Yeah, he's pooping.
Anyway, here's a toilet should just be the deck for this, by the way, Vinny, if you're still listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What shirt? Is that a Thumper shirt?
Yes, that
Nice.
is one of the ones I unlocked.
Very nice.
Got to represent. Okay, so we're gonna go to this boss fight. This is the first one. He has electricity,
Okay.
so there's that.
Huh. This,
Yeah.
it seems, again, nothing about this seems like a train wreck or anything.
No, it's
just
not
like,
that.
I'm not necessarily getting excited to play this.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt the entire time I've been playing it. Is just I'm there's enough here that like I'm technically engaged with it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can keep playing this, but I'm not into it.
Right.
And when I'm playing a pseudo game, I want to be into it.
Yeah.
I kind of had the same problem with Let It Die. Like it's there's some cool ideas in there. There's some cool personality in there, but I was never into it.
Right. Some part of me has always wanted to go back to Killer 7.
Yeah.
And see how that's aged.
You should. I heard that PC4 is good.
Yeah.
I feel like that game is definitely due for like a significant reappraisal. I definitely, that was the thing that made me want to get more into Suda stuff.
Yeah.
That was the first one I think I ever played.
That was definitely before Giant Bomb's time, but like if there was a best style category for the year that came out, that is the most best style
That
game
is
I
like
can
the
think
most,
of.
like it should, the award should be named after
Yes.
that game.
The Killer 7 Honorary Award.
Yeah. So this is really the only like significant character interaction you get throughout these stages is you talk to the bosses for a little bit. Every once in a while there's a sub-boss who comes around who's just this weird goat guy that sort of yells at you, but that's kind of it.
Okay, so a lot of self-aware.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this guy is supposed to be like the star of a video game that he loved when he was a kid.
Gotcha. Is it pretty constant with the, hey, we know this is a video game references?
It is. I wouldn't say it's not obnoxious about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a regular theme of the game, so, like, yeah, it makes sense that, they would kind of hammer it, but, like, it's just not, I don't know, like, it's just not that interesting. Like, it's just sort of, it's just a plot point and not really, I'm sure there's, like, some meta commentary in there about video games and heroes and whatnot, but I don't know. I just haven't really, I haven't been interested enough to really engage with it.
Right. Boy, what I'm looking at here reminds me a lot of Fury. Just in terms of, like, the layout of the stage and the perspective and, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And pattern recognition.
Yeah, I feel like there are at the very least some references to, other indie games for sure. Like, and obviously they did those deals where all those T-shirts are in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so the electric thing doesn't work on him. That makes sense.
Yes. What beats electric? Water?
Also slamming guys into walls, so that works too.
Yeah, that's effective.
So that's like a little stun blast I can do that can hit multiple enemies.
So is there going to be another red bar after you're done with the yellow bar?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm seeing here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm also getting hit a lot. Because I'm just not bothering to dodge. Alright, there we go. Now he's slow, and I'll just keep hacking away at him.
That slowdown area of effect seems really good.
Oh, it's useful.
Is that just like a rough cooldown on that?
Yeah, it's not super long.
Gotcha. Pretty good. I mean, yeah.
Of course, there are multiple stages. Yes, there are a decent number of wrestling references peppered throughout this.
I like the way Suda names things.
Yes.
Moves and characters, and it is very wrestling.
Every boss fight ends with you suplexing him in a different way.
All right, now you're speaking my language. There are Northern Lights you can hit this guy with?
So far, I have seen a German, and I saw what looked like a single underhook suplex.
Okay, cool.
At some point, I would just love to interview Suda and just talk about different suplexes. That's it. I just want to talk about that.
I have interviewed him exactly about wrestling and not bringing up video games at all. And
yeah.
He's fun to talk to about wrestling.
The last time I talked to him, he just started talking about rings a lot, like Akira Maeda, and it's a promotion. It was like one of the MMA wrestling hybrid promotions of the 90s.
Huh.
It was his favorite thing.
Huh.
Alright, so I have to destroy these 4 things. Kill these ads while I'm going. Oh, that one's already dead. That one's dead. I'm actually getting through this faster because I'm a lot higher level than I was when I first did this fight.
Gotcha.
There we go. Alright, let's do it.
Get him.
Roast him. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Oh, he's down here. Okay. Dope. Oh, that's not going well. Come on, come on.
How do you feel about the soundtrack?
It's fine. Yeah. Like, it's been a lot of, like, just kind of the same pulsing beats. It hasn't had, like, all right, I died, whatever. I'm not going to do it again. Yeah, it's fine. Like, you know, it just kind of pulses and is just kind of like a lot of stuff, you know? Okay. And it's like, it's enjoyable, but I can't say it's that memorable.
Okay.
Let me load up the other game that I have beaten real quick. Let's see how I back out of here.
I'm trying to think of the last Suda game that I really like. I really did like Shadow of the Damned quite a bit. Like, I think in terms of gameplay, that is probably my favorite Suda game.
Yeah, yeah. Shadow of the Damned is I think an underrated one. I mean, it's definitely like the least interesting commentary-wise, but it is, you know, it is a good dumb action video game story.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, like you said, I think it is probably the best playing of his games of recent memory.
Yeah. I remember Killer 7 was definitely in that category of like, all right, this play is fine, but let's just get to the next weird-ass character or whatever. Yeah,
same. All right, let's just check out the other one, and then I'll show you the other little bit of this that there is. All right, Life is Destroy is the other game that I have beaten. Okay. This one, you are essentially stalking a serial killer, but like you're mostly just going through these stages and doing the exact same thing.
All right.
Yes, and I'll just start this one from the beginning part so you can kind of see what it is. This one also has a good intro.
Kind of a bummer that like there's so much aesthetic with like these title screens and loading screens and stuff, and then once it plops you into the level, it becomes a little less defined, you know?
It's like they put a lot of the stuff you would want on the fringes, and somehow just the part where you are in the thing you are doing like 75% of the game is just they never found a way to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Which is a real weird bummer.
Is that the Life magazine logo?
Kind of looks like it. Wait, no, I want to see the intro. Didn't show me the intro. The intro is the best part. Oh, did I accidentally skip through it?
I don't know.
All right, well, I'll skip that. I want to see the intro movie. It's the only thing I liked about this stage. Well, I broke it. I broke the death drive. Okay, there we go. Let's try that one more time. Life is destroy. All right, I'm just not going to touch anything this time.
Game time.
Not seeing a whole lot of replay value, or it doesn't seem apparent.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's if you want to collect all the different T-shirts or whatever, and you want to kind of get a complete completionist about it, then sure, there's stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like every time I've finished a stage, I've just been like, okay, I'm done with that forever. Yeah. Show me the intro. Yeah. What? Why won't you show me the intro? Maybe it's because I beat it.
If you just did the first thing on here?
Yeah, I'm just starting starting point. Before, like, when it would boot me out, it would just start the intro again, so I don't know.
Huh.
No, it didn't show it.
Weird.
Oh, every stage also starts with him doing the Terminator thing into every stage.
All right. I think Suda's a cool guy.
Yeah. Look, he likes a lot of the same things that you and I like very clearly. So yeah, you see what I mean? Like these you just have to sort of swap these roads around to try and find your way to the end of the level, which is always this house.
Okay.
And then you go in there and you fight guys.
Gotcha. The bosses are Death and Drive, and the game system is
they're
the
dudes that show up at the beginning of every level and are like, hey, you don't want to go in there. This is death stuff.
Gotcha. Like I like the design on some of the stuff, like those Death Drive characters there, like.
Yeah, and like I said, like the little fringy parts of art and other like personality elements, I think are good. They're just not prominent enough in the actual game.
Something about these colors of the houses and the streets are giving me a real SimCity 2000 vibe here.
Sure.
Or Monopoly.
You just kind of go through here, you swap these things around.
Have you played handheld at all here? Because like as small as this is, I wonder how.
I was playing handheld before we recorded this to finish this world off.
Is it pretty tiny on?
It's pretty tiny. I mean, I could kind of see what I was doing, but yeah, like everything does just kind of look like a little blob.
Yeah.
Hey, I solved it. I mean, this is the first one, but. They do get more complicated, and again, eventually a fucking giant blue head of death starts chasing you around, which is not ideal.
Is that going for like a Pac-Man thing?
I gotta get more of like maybe like a little bit of a Hotline Miami vibe to some of this stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. But with like a weird, like I said, like elemental or environmental puzzle solving attached to it.
Right.
So, like, Doppelganger is, like, the final boss of this stage. He's just, like, a serial killer dude that you need to dispatch. And, again, like, that's maybe the thing I'm disappointed by, is that, like, you talk about these games like, okay, this is a game about a serial killer, and there's all this other fucking weird shit going on, but then, like, none of that really comes through in the part that you are playing. It just feels very much like you are existing inside a game world that was maybe intended for something else, but then none of the game you are playing has anything to do with that.
Yeah, all that seems to go by the wayside once you're kind of playing it.
Yeah. Like, I guess maybe I want, if you're gonna do this thing where you're, like, kind of celebrating indie games and, you're trying to sort of, like, have him go through these different games in the world, like, maybe build something gameplay-wise a little more around that.
Yeah.
Versus just like, hey, here's No More Heroes, but smaller inside these other things.
Yeah, I don't think I want to play this.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too harsh here, but like, I like his games. I like the older games, but I just don't see myself hopping into this one.
Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna show you the last part of this, and then we're gonna call this. So in between each death ball thing, every time you beat one of the main games, you have to jump into this other thing, which is essentially a old green screen computer text adventure.
Okay.
Where some story stuff happens. There's not really a lot of like engagement with it other than just clicking through dialogue, but like it's how you earn new death balls.
Gotcha.
So you go into here, you jump back in here, and then there's a little story that plays out. And like, this is neat, I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not anything particularly complicated or, you don't do a whole lot in it, but like, it's a neat way to kind of break up the action, which definitely needs some breaking up.
Right.
Let's see what they give me here. Yeah. So it's this, and each of these is usually like a few minutes long.
Okay.
And it's cool. Like I said, it's like, and there's obviously a lot of self-aware dialogue here.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of what this game is, as far as I can tell. There's 4 stages I haven't played through yet, but I'm kind of struggling to find the motivation to keep playing.
I understand based on what I've seen here.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It is, like I said, if you're, you were a huge fan of the first 2 games, $30, I mean, this isn't a huge ask. It seems like there's a decent amount of game, even if it is kind of repetitive and not super interesting to me personally. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think there's something there, but it's not enough for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Well, that is No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Back. It's out now. It's on the Switch. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, anytime.